My name is Shira Brown and my business is Shira Hanna Designs, and I make unique gemstone jewelry and do metalwork. Each piece is one of a kind and I put my full attention into every piece that I make. Art's always been a really big part of my life. During my childhood, I spent a lot of time drawing, painting. Most of it was self-directed. I knew that I always wanted a career in medicine and I wanted to pursue becoming a pediatrician. And so that's what I did. And so I went to Tufts University, I majored in biology. I tried to interject art wherever I could, and my art had to sort of take a back seat for a little while. But about 10 years ago, I really started to explore the world of jewelry design. I started with mostly assembled jewelry, and over the past year, I've really started to explore fabrication from start to finish. And now I'm working mostly in 100% fabricated metal jewelry featuring beautiful natural gemstones. I took my first course in metalsmithing last year in 2019, and since then I've just continued on a very regular basis with my home practice and developing my skill set. What I love about making jewelry is being able to take a creative idea, focus on it 100%. I enjoy looking for natural stones and using the shapes of the stones and the energy of the stones to sort of guide my work. And in the end, what I come up with, what the result is a beautiful piece of art that can then be enjoyed by another person. Lapidary work is an art form on its own. And I am not a stone cutter, I'm not a lapidary artist, but over the past year I've been able to make some really nice connections with different lapidary artists, primarily around our country, who cut stone from rough. One of the things I enjoy most about creating my jewelry is being able to take a very, very beautiful stone that is already a piece of art created by somebody else. I know who cut these stones, I know her process. I could ask her to cut a similar stone for me again in the future if I wanted one. To me, that's just really cool. So it's artists supporting artists. My process involves basic materials like sheet metal, specifically sterling silver and argentium silver, which is an alloy of sterling. And I take those basic materials and I cut them and saw them and create components with them, which then I go on to attach through a process called soldering. In designing this cuff, I started with a piece of argentium that I measured it out and I used my jeweler's saw to cut a rectangle. And once I was happy with the design, I did something called saw piercing, which is when you're actually drilling a hole essentially through every negative space and you're using a jeweler's saw to cut them out. After it's saw pierced and I'm happy with it, then I'm going over to my soldering station. I start to work on the embellishments. So I'm fusing the granules and eventually I'm soldering up on a bezel cup that I also fabricated. And then from there, I'm going to be forming the bracelet. And for that, I'm using something called a bracelet mandrel. The bracelet is then formed around the mandrel. Before I set the stone, I actually precipitation harden it so that the metal maintains its form. So that's a unique quality of argentium. You can't do that with sterling. Once I'm happy with the bracelet and the way that it's formed, I'm going to be setting the stone. And for that, I'm using a vise to hold the bracelet in place. The best part really is in the end finding out who it's going to and who it lands with. And for me, that closes the loop and makes a full circle. I participated in the Stroll in 2019. It was my first year. It was so nice to be able to interact with the community and meet people from Medfield and the surrounding towns and have conversations and be able to not only show my work, but answer questions about my process. And I'm so thankful that Medfield is doing it virtually this year because it's still a way to connect. It's always so enjoyable for me to see who's interested in what and to be able to connect people with pieces that mean something to them. I've been fortunate in that I've been commissioned with some really special projects, gifts that people wanted to give to loved ones that either have a certain meaning or were in commemoration of an event. And so for me, that's the best kind of work. I love starting with a client who just has the beginning of an idea and helping that idea come to a design and the design come to a piece that ultimately brings somebody a lot of happiness. Art is exceptionally important. It enriches society, enhances individuality, whether the art form is music or sculpture or painting or jewelry design. It's a means for people to demonstrate self-expression. Without art, our society would be very, very boring, I think. So I do have a website. It's shirahannadesigns.com. You can find most of my recent work on my website. I also keep my Instagram account very, very active because not only do I like to show finished pieces, I like to share process photos. I like to share tips and tricks. And in terms of commissions and custom work, clients are always welcome to email me. And my email address is readily available on my Instagram account and also available through my website. I'm never too busy. I have a very full life and I'm very blessed in that way, but I also devote a lot of time to this because it's important to me. So please don't be afraid to reach out.